My name is Dr. C.J. Varghese. I am a homeopathic physician, an educator, and a student of the biological laws governing life and disease. For nearly 5 decades, I have been in medical practice, actively witnessing human suffering closely, not from textbooks, but from real human lives. Over these years, my understanding of health, disease, and healing has undergone a profound transformation. What I am sharing today is not a belief system, not a theory, and certainly not an attack on individuals. It is the distilled understanding born out of long clinical experience and deep biological observation. As a young boy, I remember reading a famous novel by Charles Dickens titled Great Expectations. As I grew older, as I grew into a physician, I began to feel that modern medicine, unfortunately, has turned many of those expectations into something else. Today, I wish to speak to you about what I call the great exploitation, not as an accusation, but as a reflection, and to place before humanity a biological and compassionate alternative. This is not a message against doctors or patients, but against a system that has gradually moved away from biological truth. I wish to make you understand the occasion of my creation of this video and the purpose of it. I'm making this video in connection with the 9th anniversary of the Global GHK Foundation, not as a celebration alone, but as a moment of global responsibility. On this occasion, I wish to make what I would humbly call a historic declaration to humanity. Its title can be like this: From Great Expectations to the Great Exploitation, with a clear intention of guiding humanity from medical exploitation to biological truth. So, this declaration is meant for humanity at large, also including the doctors and the healthcare professionals, the health-related policymakers, and the leaders of the nations and future generations. Why I feel that this declaration is timely and necessary. What I feel that medicine has reached at a crossroads. Despite breathtaking advances in medical technology, the diseases are increasing. As all of you know, chronic illnesses are multiplying. Mental health disorders are exploding. Of course, we have more drugs nowadays, more hospitals, and more investigative procedures and technology. Yet, we have got less health. So, humanity today is confused. They are all fearful and increasingly dependent on lifelong medical systems. So, I wish to make this core statement. Modern medicine has gradually moved away from biology and got aligned itself with commerce. So, I wish to establish my idea that conventional medicine as a great exploitation. The main problem with the medicine is that diseases are treated as our enemies, and human being is nowadays reduced to a diagnosis. Simple symptoms like fever, pain, inflammation, which are the natural healing responses, are aggressively made to appear as inimical, and by that reason, they are suppressed. What happens is that every acute diseases are converted into chronic conditions. The psyche, one of the important component of human organism, is totally ignored when the disease is concerned or the treatment is concerned, and an emotional shock that happens in the psyche of an individual is never addressed. In short, the psyche brain organ axis, I call it like that, it is totally denied. Patients are put into a lifelong drug dependency. They are forced to reach at that stage. We can say they are pushed into this lifelong drug dependency for diseases they call as blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, thyroid disorders, and many more. Side effects of these drugs become nowadays another or secondary markets. That means one drug leading to many new diseases. So the iatrogenic diseases or the iatrogenic illnesses are nowadays a normal phenomenon. There are so many fear-based labels for many conditions of health as incurable, genetic, lifelong treatment requiring conditions. So these labels are imposed on many of the patients whose conditions are not understood by the medical world. The fear deepens these conflicts of an individual when they are diagnosed with these sort of diseases, and then when they are picturized as incurable. And what happens is that these shocks or these conflicts worsens their health conditions. We can say a diagnostic explosions. This is actually what is happening instead of understanding their conditions. For example, the cancer is explained in multiple ways. There's only concerned about the cellular changes. They simply say a random mutation. This narrative is really ignoring the real condition of cancer and cancer-like conditions. They are really healing processes, or they are appearing as tumors or ulcers or long-standing disease phenomena. They are all healing phases of a condition. Simple childhood fevers and infections are all suppressed, making use of the drugs, pharma drugs, antibiotics, steroids, etc. And they are all laying foundations for the many disease conditions, chronic in nature, when they grow up to adulthood. So, conventional medicine has no explanation for the timing. This is important. Why this is happening at this particular time is not explained. Why now? Why at this particular point of time? Why 2 months back? Why 5 days back? So these are not explained by the conventional medicine. Why a particular disease condition gets relapses. Another thing is that a particular protocol for a particular health condition or disease condition is applied to millions, where what happens is their individuality is totally ignored or erased. And surgeries are performed without resolving the underlying biological conflicts, which always have got their components in the psyche and in the brain and in their organs. So during surgery, most of the conditions, the physical manifestation of the bodily or organ level manifestation is removed, whereas the psychic and the brain components are remaining, which will naturally cause complications, so-called, or relapses. Coming to the psychiatric field, mental health area, Psychiatry is reduced to mere chemical imbalance myths, telling that the reason for these psychiatric, even human behavioral disorders, or the very serious mental illnesses, they are all explained as due to some chemical imbalances. This is really a myth. Doctors are reduced to protocol followers and statistics replace wisdom. From my experience, what I have understood is that there is a pharma factory, I would say, which is creating hypothesis after hypothesis. So that's why I would like to call this phenomenon as hypothesis factory of pharma. Conventional medicine today stands not on biological laws, but on ever-changing hypotheses, monetized by the pharmaceutical industries. I can narrate a large number of such hypotheses. I will touch upon few of them. Number one is infection theory. Actually, there's no scientific or rational explanation for the so-called infection theory in order to establish that it is a true theory. And depending upon this thing, based upon this infection theory, vaccines are administered, and the effectiveness of vaccines and the complications, bad effects, side effects of these vaccines are all discussed. Vaccine has got its own chemical bad effects due to its contents, and also it acts as a suppressant with long-standing reactions and complications. And nowadays, antibody resistance is a topic of discussion. What actually happens is that antibiotic administration is totally against the biology. The symptoms that we understand as diseases, they are all nature's methods of survival in order to help the patient or help the so-called individual. But we are suppressing their activities by making use of antibiotics. Whereas the so-called microbes are our very beneficial friends as far as the biology is concerned. And another thing is that genetic theory. From 2000 onwards, people were believing that genetics, the knowledge in the field of genetics is going to help the humanity. But now what happened? All diseases which cannot be explained by existing parameters, they all are put under this heading, they are genetic, without any evidence of the parental chromosomal or genetic disparities. Another thing is immune system theory. Actually, there is no evidence of this, the existing or the existence of a theory or this system called immune system. Here also, many diseases that are not explainable, or many are explained as infections, and these infections are said to be because of the deficient or deficit happening in the immune system. And as a result, so many diseases are explained as autoimmune diseases. So there is another theory that our own cellular components, so cells are attacking each other within our human system, which is not believable when we understand that these are all very well programmed and these are all very well planned and designed by the nature. Another area where people are misled is the overemphasis on the diet and nutrition theories. Diet has to be balanced and the nutrition is important, but many diseases are put under the diet and nutrition problems. Another area is vitamins and the deficiency theories. That means actually vitamin is needed, vitamin is important, but it is simply telling that vitamin deficiency is there or some mineral deficiency is there. And naturally, it has become an industry where, for example, vitamin D deficiency and so many vitamin deficiencies are explained as the causation for many diseases. Another category of diseases are category of lifestyle diseases. Actually, it's an escapism. And these results we are getting these results by mere statistics, which does not consider the individuality or the individualized peculiarity of every individual. And it has become a very, very important area that exercise, the lack of exercise or the necessity of exercise has also become too much important in the modern life. Climate and the environmental fear narratives are making a lot of problem. Many infections, many similar so-called diseases are ascribed to be caused by the climatic and environmental changes. Similar is allergic diseases. Actually, allergic conditions are explained without taking into consideration the individuality or the individual differences and the psychic component of the production of diseases or disease conditions. So allergy also is a disputable theory, and the basis of which is only some statistics, and there is material evidence, whereas all these allergy conditions are forgetting the importance of the psyche. Another area is congenital or inheritance theory. That means my grandfather had this disease and therefore I am likely to get it. Or the family history telling that my father had it and therefore this is likely to be transferred or inherited by the children. So another thing is the foundation or the basis of many of the conditions are on blood chemistry. It has become a very important misunderstanding that, oh, I had a low cholesterol or high cholesterol or hypothyroidism or sodium has gone down, blood sugar has gone up. All these diseases are explained based on the changes in the blood chemistry. And here again, the real essence of the disease are not considered. And here, in the case of psychiatric imbalances also, there are so many theories which are based on the changes happening in the blood, the chemical changes happening in the blood. So cancer is similarly, I told you, it's based on the cellular level changes only, or we can say a cell undergoes a mutation, a random mutation without any rational basis for the mutations. So all are largely disconnected from biological meaning. That's the important thing. There's no connection with biology. That's totally forgotten. And the psyche, very important component of human organism, is totally ignored only because the psyche is not elicitable in any of the laboratories existing in this world, any part of the world. And that is why the particular timing of a manifestation of a disease is not rationally explained. And the individual experience of life situations are not taken into consideration. In this backdrop, I would like to give 3 crucial warnings to humanity. Number 1 is My conviction is that the humanity as a the whole population of this world, we know that there are 8 billion people in this world, they are all being, or the majority of the people who takes these pharma drugs, they are all slowly being poisoned. So my conclusion is that humanity is slowly being poisoned. Of course, drugs do not kill dramatically or suddenly. Drugs are made to believe that they are beneficial for controlling the disease condition, but in reality, they are poisons slowly acting, chronically acting, and silently making a degeneration, which is under the mask of treatment. The second point, which I would like to give as a warning, is that the financial power that silences the truth is doing a lot of harm in the area of health. The pharmaceutical wealth control research and education accordingly done in the name of health education and the guidelines that are prevalent in this area and the role of media in order to propagate and the power of the ruling governments. They are all controlling the pharma business, and any sort of dissent in this area is marginalized or erased by their own peculiar methods. So I would like to say no to pharma drugs. All of you must be knowing when I say no to drugs, everybody understands it as a precaution or cautious warning to prevent the misuse of substances or the substance abuse. But I give this statement, the whole world should seriously consider to raise this slogan, say no to pharma drugs. That means say no to suppression, say no to dependency, and lifelong medication. Actually, pharma drugs, they are needed in emergency cases. So this statement does not oppose emergency care, but it opposes unnecessary chronic drugging. So that's why, in my opinion, the 10% of the present day medical expenditure is required, or the hospitals are only required to 10%, and the remaining part of the health conditions, once we understand it as a part of biological program, then things would be entirely different. We will be able to make a paradigm shift in the area of healthcare. It is in this backdrop that I would like to present before you a very great revolutionary knowledge, medical discovery given to this world by Dr. Varghese, who was born in Germany, and during his later part, he was in exile. And his dead body only came to Germany, and he died in the year 2017. So this Germanic healing knowledge is not a belief, is not a philosophy, but it is based on 5 biological laws, which are the fundamental principles of Germanic healing knowledge. These principles are universal, and these principles are reproducible in each and every cases. What is important here, what is stressed upon this, is the psyche-brain organ correlation. Here, all the diseases are based on conflict shock that happens in the psyche. It is the starting point of all diseases. So it clearly defines the diseases, so-called diseases, as a program. And most of the time, the healing phases are explained as diseases. Therefore, GHK or Germanic Healing Knowledge explains why each and every symptom appears, why the worsen during healing phase, why fear destroys recovery. So it is in this background that I suggest that world should take up the GSK-based homeopathy. I told you, I'm a homeopath. I started learning homeopathy in the year 1978, and therefore 51 years of GSK learning makes me to state that the future health has to be a GSK-based homeopathy mastery. GSK-based homeopathy aligns naturally with biology. So it is an individualized explanation of the health conditions. It is really non-toxic and it is non-suppressive. So I would like to state this. Nearly 90% of the diseases do not require drugs, surgery, or lifelong treatment. Most importantly, this is not about replacing every pharmaceutical drug with a homeopathic one. Many conditions, according to the miasmatic theory of homeopathy, the soric states require no medicine at all. Medicines may be required in deeper miasmatic conditions like psychotic and necessarily easily in syphilitic cases. And here lies the unique strength of homeopathy. Minimum medicine, maximum benefit. It is said to be safe, simple, scientific, effective, and economic for everyone. There is no suppression, and I repeat, it gives the maximum benefit with the minimum medicine. So, Global GHK Foundation, which was inaugurated in the year 2017, we formed this community with this vision and mission, which I'm going to explain to you. GHK Foundation, Global GHK Foundation is existing in order to preserve the authentic Germanic healing knowledge as propounded by its founder, Dr. Varghese. We try to prevent any sort of dilution of this knowledge or any sort of distortion of this knowledge. We make GHK, we try to make GHK accessible to every human being. That is our area of activity across the cultures, across all languages, and across the globe. Actually, 9 years of service mark not an achievement, but a renewed commitment to humanity. So with this final call to humanity, I'm going to conclude. I would like to repeat my understanding that humanity today stands at a critical crossroads. One path continues with fear, dependency, suppression, and endless medication. The other path leads to understanding, biology, dignity, and true healing. For decades, medicine has taught humans to fight their own bodies. GHK teaches us to listen to the body. Symptoms are not enemies. Diseases are not mistakes. They are meaningful biological responses to life conflicts. When medicine ignores meaning, fear increases. Fear deepens conflicts. Conflicts deepen disease. So, When understanding is restored, fear is getting dissolved and healing begins. The body regains its natural intelligence. So humanity does not need more drugs. Humanity does not need more labels. Humanity needs biological truth. GHK or Germanic Healing Knowledge or Germanische Heilkunde is not an alternative system of medicine. It is a return to the forgotten foundation of medicine. So, on this 9th anniversary of Global GHK Foundation, this is our appeal. Appeal to doctors, observe biology before prescribing. Appeal to patients, understand your body before fearing it. Appeal to appeal to leaders, protect health, not industries. This is our appeal to humanity, reclaim ownership of your health. So, to conclude, disease is not a mistake of nature. It is biology speaking in the language of symptoms. When understood, healing follows naturally. This is not an alternative system of medicine. This is a return to biological truth. Thank you. And I extend all of you, all my listeners, the anniversary greetings of Global GHK Foundation at 9. Thank you.